Anyone who has played video games before has encountered some form of difficulty spike, whether it's an abrupt boss fight that has more mechanics than the last one, or a level that unexpectedly requires more skill than before. It's jarring at best and rage-inducing at worst. Now, how would you feel if a game you're playing changed the difficulty level based on how you perform? A system that allows you to shine and be the hero, whether it's by giving you a gentle helping hand or tipping the scale slightly against you for that even more satisfying triumph. And the best part about it? You probably wouldn't notice it. This is the game concept called adaptive difficulty. A familiar game comes to mind when talking about the idea of game difficulty and how the game adjusts itself based on your performance. It's this certain indie game series that's had a cult following over the years. You've probably never heard of it before, but they've done good enough to get a remake or two done. It's called Resident
Evil 4.
Sounds pretty mid. Either way, let's dive right in. Adaptive difficulty is basically an in-game system that tweaks and manipulates certain gameplay aspects, making it either harder or easier as you play the game, depending on your experience on the game so far. This mechanic has been seen on many games, specifically games that have held up immensely well. One of those is Resident Evil 4, of course. A game that is still fun and engaging to play through despite being more than a decade old and even after multiple playthroughs. In RE4, if you're doing extremely well on a level, enemies will start becoming more aggressive by running and dodging more often. They take more hits and health items and ammo pickups will appear less often. They won't stand around waiting for you to. If you're feeling stuck, however, they tone it down a bit more and give you a bit of breathing room. Enemies will now attack just a little bit slower and will stagger more easily, and helpful items like grenades and magnum rounds will be given. This keeps the moment-to-moment gameplay fluid and continuous. The trick is to not only keep the player moving forward, but also entice them to want to move forward. Unless you're a Souls-like masochist, it's just a teensy tiny bit frustrating to reset to the same room, with the same enemies, and the same game over screen. Krauser, please stop, I'm bad! Or this room. To give another example of a zombie game with adaptive difficulty, let's take a look at one of the biggest zombie titles out there, Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead uses its AI director, or AID, to control the drama and the chaos going on. It is a movie after all. I mean, have you ever seen the loading screens? AID was implemented through checking whether or not the players were having a tough time while playing the game by counting whether or not they use the shove button a lot, how far are the players from each other and how close they are to the goal, and how many players are of low health. The director adjusts the entire game according to this, like adding or lessening common infected spawns. Same goes for the special infected types too, and deciding whether to give pain pills that only give a temporary boost in HP, or first aid kits that permanently restores HP. It creates a different high and low moments in every playthrough, making it hard to really plan out what will happen in every run. And what's most impressive about it is, it all happens behind the scenes. Pay no attention to the AI director behind the curtain. This does not mean that adaptive difficulty is supposed to be recognized and obviously felt. They're not there to patronize you or halt your progress. They're basically that one chaotic friend. How much help or trouble they'll give you kinda depends on their mood, but in the end, they just want you to have fun. At its core, an adaptive difficulty system just wants to make the experience enjoyable and fresh to players, whether it's their first 5 or after 500 hours of playtime. Are you familiar with the concept of the Goldilocks zone from your science classes? The perfect and optimal conditions for life to flourish on Earth where everything is just right. Or also known as the flow state or the zone. Concepts in psychology where a good balance between your skill and the game's difficulty can decide whether or not you would end up getting bored, frustrated, or enter the zone, where everything clicks in a state of energized gamer god focus. That's what adaptive difficulty strives for, and what keeps it being such a good mechanic. It makes any game just that more fun and engaging. With the ongoing discourse on difficulty in video games, how hard or accessible a game should be, maybe adaptive difficulty is a good solution for many games and game developers to consider. Finding just that right mix of ongoing gameplay adjustments, AI behavior, and mechanics complexity is a tough system to produce, of course, and by nature, it should not be noticed at all if it runs well. But if the goal is for the player to enjoy and have fun regardless of their skill level, maybe it shouldn't be get good. It should encourage players to keep playing. Maybe it should be get going. Because there's so much more game to experience than that one boss or that one stupid room. Krauser, please stop it! So, should Souls-like games like Elden Ring have adaptive difficulty? Better yet, should all games have adaptive difficulty? Unless the intended experience of the developers is get good skill issue, having gamers constantly progress and enjoy the game at a level that suits them is the goal, right? After all, the best games out there are fun from the beginning to the end. So, how can one be considered the best if the players can't even get past the 3rd boss or the 5th level? This mechanic probably already exists in a lot of games that we just don't know about. And you know what? Bravo, unidentified game developers with your unidentified mysterious games. You know what's not a difficult thing? Liking this video and hitting the subscribe button. You should adapt to checking out our other videos if you enjoyed this one as well. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.